Kevin Gentry.
Yes, Gentry. All that list is coming up. One of your first choices would work, except they were booked. The other one, we have to look for facilities that work in a room, and I'm not shooting another one of these. Number 3 doesn't work with that. I'll have to check on number 4. So that's part of what I'm faced with. Y'all may want to give us, I'll work on this, and y'all may want to give us some more thought at lunch. So, thank you.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Please tell us whether testimony about this matter, Dave versus Jamie Donnell, clearly did please the whole 2 numbers to the time.
I did.
Would you have the seat, please? And would you state your name, please?
Kevin Gentry.
And are you employed, sir?
I am.
Where are you employed?
Athens, Clark County.
And how long have you been working with Athens, Clark County altogether now?
25 years.
And what is your current position with Athens, Clark County, sir?
I'm the Streets and Drainage Superintendent.
And how long have you been Streets and Drainage Superintendent, sir?
Over 13 years.
And sir, as Streets and Drainage Superintendent, did you come to know a former employee, Omari Wray?
Yes.
And tell us how you came to know him, sir.
Well, I actually hired him to come and work for us at Streets and Drainage.
Pull up just a little bit. Pull that microphone forward.
Okay.
There's not a statement. You can just talk about it.
All right. Thank you.
And go ahead. You were the one that actually hired him, is that what you said?
Yes, there were about 3 of us in the interview process, but yes, I was.
And when was he hired, sir?
I think it was 2010.
Sorry.
2010.
Well, I mean, he died in 2010.
I'm sorry, 2007. Yeah, about 2007.
Was that around March 28, 2007?
Yes.
Okay. And did he work, was he working there at the time of his death on December 28, 2010?
He was still employed with us, yes.
And what was his position with Athens, Clark County Streets and Drainage, sir?
His position was called a Streets and Drainage Worker 1.
And what kind of work did he do, sir?
He worked on one of our stormwater crews. He was more or less in an entry-level position. He drove a flatbed truck, used shovel, picks, laid pipe, ran some equipment.
And what kind of worker was he, sir?
He was a really good worker. He worked hard, was always at work, didn't ever lay out, never had a conflict with any other employees. Everybody liked working with him. He was a good hard worker.
And at the time of his funeral, did you or other members of the department go to his funeral?
Yes, the entire division went to his funeral. He was very well liked by everybody.
Yes. That's all I have of Mr. Gentry.
Any questions? Excuse me. Thank you. No, sir. All right, next witness.
Chief Joseph Lumpkin. While you've been previously sworn, let me swear you again, please. You solemnly swear the testimony back to this report in this matter of State versus Jamie Donnell will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
You may be seated. And for the record, would you state your name again, please?
Joseph H. Lumpkin, Sr., Police Chief, Savannah Channel Metropolitan Police Department, former Chief of Athens, Clark County Police Department.
Yes. And you were the Chief of the Police Department here for Athens, Clark County from 2007 until earlier this year?
1997.
97.
January 13th, 1997 to sworn November 10th, 2014 in Savannah.
Yes. Now, And have you prepared a victim impact statement regarding the events in this matter, sir?
Yes, I prepared and submitted one.
Let me show you what's been marked as state exhibit number 1187.
Let me see that.
Is that the statement you prepared, sir?
Yes, sir.
I would tender state exhibit 1187 in the evidence of this matter.
Any objection? No, sir.
And if you will, Mr. Lumpkin, would you please read that statement to the jury?
Yes, sir. My name is Joseph H. Lumpkin, Sr., and on March 22nd, 2011, I was serving in my 14th year as the police chief for the Athens Clarke County Police Department and my 36th year in law enforcement in this county. Thus, I was the commanding officer for Senior Police Officer Elmer Buddy Christian and Senior Police Officer Tony Howe. On March 22nd, 2011, I had spent approximately 57 years of my life living within the Athens Clarke County, and I believe I knew this county and its people. Words cannot express the pain and anguish our police personnel and the citizenry of Athens Clarke County endured and still endure since the murders perpetrated by this defendant. The violent death of SPO Buddy Christian was a devastating, overpowering blow to the fine men and women of the Athens Clarke County Police Department. Hundreds of men and women of the department required some form of emotional, psychological, and ministerial assistance during this critical period. The Georgia State Patrol's peer support team had arrived in Athens Clarke County and counseled significant numbers of Athens Clarke County PD men and women shortly after our loss. Our men and women cried and shook as they expressed their personal, emotional, and psychological toll. I directly participated in 2 of the group sessions, but became dazed in the 3rd session and had to excuse myself. Buddy Christian's loss is an everlasting loss that is simply for the men and women of the Athens Clarke County Police Department beyond words to adequately describe. We in the Athens Clarke County Police Department attempted to assist Buddy's family. His family was suffering an eternal loss that words do not adequately explain. Buddy and Melissa's son, Wyatt, was only 2 years old. Buddy and Melissa's daughter, Callie, was only 5 years old when their father's life was taken. For Buddy, that meant there would be no more birthday parties, backyard gatherings, holiday celebrations, or other family activities to personally share with his wife, daughter, son, and extended family members. The laughter, hugs, guidance, advice, sense of security, and those opportunities to say, I love you, were taken from Buddy forever. The family was taken of the chance to ever hear their Buddy express that genuine love for them and people in general. The Elmer Buddy Christian family ceased to be whole and was forever broken on March 22nd, 2011. On behalf of the family and members of the Athens Clarke County Police Department, I wish to express my serious gratitude for allowing me this opportunity of expression.
Brief. Morning, Chief Officer.
Good morning.
When you were called to Athens Clarke County Police Department, shot and killed my friend Elmer Wray.
I recall that Mr. Wright was shot and killed in 1996. 95, I was not here.
But did that, do you recall the o'clock that police department doing?
I recall that Mr. Wright was shot and killed by the Athens Clark County police officer in 1995 and 96, and I was not here.
Do you recall he was buck naked when he was shot and killed? No way.
This is not at all appropriate regarding indicating where's that, matter.
I'll let him answer it if he knows. But there may be other objections dealing with this. I don't know.
Do you recall that he was buck naked without a weapon when the Athens Clark County police department shot and killed?
I have not read any reports on Mr. Wright.
Did you read the newspaper?
I read newspaper articles.
Did the newspaper article indicate that he was buck naked without a gun when the Athens Clark County police department shot and killed him?
The newspaper articles that I recall reading, and that was in the 96, 95 period of time, was that Mr. Wright was not armed, he was naked, and Mr. Wright became involved in a physical confrontation with the officer. He was subsequently shot. Those are what I recall from reading from a newspaper article.
Was the officer charged in any type wrongdoing? Was he charged, or was he put on trial for that, or anything that you recall?
I do not recall from it, and I'm operating on news. Okay, but the officer was not charged. From what I recall, the officer, it was ruled and judged after a GBI investigation that the officer was in fear of his life when he shot.
Mr. Lumpkin, was you the police chief when the Athens Clark County police officer John Little shot and killed my brother Gentry?
I was the police chief in 2011 when an Athens Clark County police officer shot Timothy Hood after Mr. Hood placed a gun to his head. After Mr. Hood placed a gun to the police officer's head.
Did you watch that video of the officer police car?
I have not watched the video. I've read the reports of that incident, and the reports, as I seem to recall, was that although the weapon was loaded with X amount of rounds in the magazine, there was not one in the chamber, and therefore the officer was not shot.
Do you recall the officer saying that he shot my brother twice in this afternoon? In his police report, sir?
I recall that the officer fired twice and he was shot in the abdomen up the body.
Okay.
While he struggled over Timothy Hood's gun with the other hand.
Could you tell us why the autopsy report revealed he was shot in his left shoulder and his right chest? Could you tell the jury that?
I would suggest to you, from being a police officer for 40-odd years, that when you're struggling over a gun, which I have done, you don't really understand where you're actually firing at that moment.
Why would the officer put that in his report continuously that he fired and shot him twice in this afternoon? Tell us that.
I can't tell you that. I would suggest to you that the officer wrote in his report shortly after the incident what he thought occurred.
Could you tell us why you haven't showed me and my family that audio and video of that police officer's car when he shot and killed my brother Gentry?
If you had asked and it was closed, I would think that you would have been shown.
What about the version of the blank video that you gave my mom when she requested that y'all gave him a blank video when Seore shot?
I'm not
14, 15 years, sir.
I'm not aware of what you are saying.
Did you offer me and my family counseling when the police officer shot me? Did you offer us counseling when that police officer shot and killed my brother? Did you offer our family any type of counseling at all?
I'm not certain exactly what we offered you. I know we made contact with the Hood family through other family members and I believe a chaplain But I can't swear to the chaplain. I do remember that we made contact with the Hood family and informed the Hood family through a member of the Hood family.
Could you tell the jury why y'all didn't allow me to go to my brother's funeral after my mama was going to State Department to come pick me up to see my brother? Because you tell us why you denied me going to my brother's funeral.
That is not within the authority of the Athens Clarke County Police Department. That's the authority, in my opinion, of corrections and the sheriff who actually transports prisoners.
As chief of police, how many times you had officers charged with and killed somebody or charged with killing somebody up under the helm of you as police chief?
I have charged an officer with partisan crime of murder, not in Athens Clarke County. I've charged officers throughout my career in every department that I've worked in.
Why you failed to do it in Athens Clarke County?
Pardon?
Why did you fail to charge the officer in Athens Clarke County when they killed somebody? Y'all let them go scot-free. Why didn't you charge them?
An officer in Clarke County has not violated the law in killing anyone. I have charged officers in Clarke County for violating other laws.
Have anybody ever filed a wrongful law, a wrongful death suit against Athens Clarke County Police Department while you were the chief?
Certainly there have been wrongful deaths.
How many?
I don't know. If you'd asked me the question, I would have looked it up. But I would suggest to you that I can't recall one that we went to civil trial and lost.
But you haven't brought up Athens.
Yes, it's one thing to file a suit. It's another thing for it to be determined that you were incorrect or wrong.
Is it another thing when you allow officers to continue to kill folks and beat folks to death? Y'all don't do that body? What about that?
That's an argumentative question.
I'll sustain that objection.
Mr. Lumpkin, in your eyes, what's the difference between a person killing a police officer and a police killing somebody else's citizen? What's the difference?
I don't understand the question.
I said, what's the difference between somebody killing the police and the police killing an innocent citizen like that? What difference is it?
No one has the right to take a life unless it's within the laws of this state and this country.
Why didn't y'all offer a counsel?
Already asked.
I don't have the answer.
I didn't get the question.
I was asking, why didn't y'all offer the type of counseling they killed a friend of my brother? When no type of counseling at all, it's like, that's why I asked him what difference is it?
I'll allow him to answer again. It's different. I thought it was asked as well.
I can't remember whether we did or did not. I know we made contact with the Hood family through a member of the Hood family. We made contact with the mother and father through a member of the Hood family. I don't recall specifically what was offered or what was not offered. I will tell you that it's not standard procedure, but I don't recall whether it was or was not.
If it was standard procedure protocol, would have been a standard moral move to offer counseling to somebody that got killed. You know, like you said, y'all was sick and people had bad dreams, people were hurt, people were crying. You said you had to leave. You don't think we felt the same way?
I didn't understand the first part of the question.
In your statement, it's like you said you had to have counseling.
Yes.
Several officers came in, a lot of emotion.
Yes.
Yeah. Then you said you had to leave the counseling session 1 or 2
I
times.
said that. I said it once.
Do you think we felt the same way? Do you think we felt the same hurt? Do you think we felt the same emotion? Do you think we still have them same type feelings?
I would reject the kind of question and the calls for speculation.
One question at a time. And
I'm just in the end because if we ain't gonna get up there about this, I'm doing this.
Next witness.
Mark Sizemore. He be excused, Judge.
Any objection? No, sir. Your excuse, son.
You raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear that testimony about to give court this matter of State versus Jamie Donnell Hood will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth, nothing but truth.
I do.
Have a seat, please, sir. State your name for the jury.
My name is Mark Sizemore.
And are you employed, sir?
Yes, sir.
And where are you employed?
Athens Clarke County Police Department.
And how long have you been employed with Athens Clarke County Police Department, sir?
28 years.
And what is your current position and responsibilities with the Athens Clarke County Police Department?
I'm currently responsible for the Criminal Investigations Division.
And in March of 2011, what was your responsibility?
I was the West Precinct Commander.
And as the West Precinct Commander, what were your specific responsibilities in that role?
I was responsible for all the uniformed officers in the zones that are west of Millage Avenue, which would be the other side from where we are presently, as well as some property detectives that were assigned to that precinct.
And that precinct was out at the mall, the Square Mall, is that correct, sir?
That's correct.
And speak up just a little bit, or maybe pull that microphone maybe. And at that particular time, was Officer Elmer Buddy Christian, was he one of the patrol officers that were assigned to your division and precinct?
Yes, sir.
Sir, in regard to this matter, have you prepared a victim impact statement?
I have.
Let me show you what's been marked as State Exhibit 1188. While you're looking at that, just one more.
I take in on picture being shown, but we gotta keep showing these pictures. They already closed about evidence, they already seen. Y'all see how they grabbed a lot of them, what is this? We already seen.
I'm not sure, I mean, I believe you can object, I don't know what he's.
Yeah, I seen it look like Officer Christian pictures again.
Object, and we'll take it up when.
They already seen it, and we doing bigger impact, why you gotta keep showing it?
State Exhibit 1188, is that your statement, sir?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I would tender State Exhibit 1188 into evidence at this time.
Any objection?
No, sir, no.
And, sir, if you would you please read that statement to the jury?
I've served with the Athens Clarke County community as a police officer for 28 years. At the time of Buddy's murder and Tony's shooting by Jamie Hood, I was the West Precinct Commander. During my service, I have unfortunately been involved with many life-ending and life-altering tragedies. Car in the roadway. I remember wondering why the glass was broken out and how had that happened. When I got close, I realized that Buddy was still in the car. He'd been covered in a sheet, but I could see part of his neck and head. His computer was on, showing the screensavers, which were photographs of his family. In all my memory, that was the saddest sight that I've ever seen. It was all compounded by the fact that Tony had been transported to the hospital and I had no idea of his condition. Cannot begin to tell you how many policemen I have known over the years. The vast majority are very good people who desire to serve the community and provide for themselves or their family. Buddy was no different in those regards. However, he was different in one noticeable way. It did not appear he was at all susceptible to the cynicism that some officers develop after constant exposure to the worst of human conditions. In my interactions, Buddy was always kind and courteous and demonstrated a positive attitude toward all others. Buddy was in fact one of the kindest police officers that I've ever known. I recall having a fellow church member approach me on one occasion about a traffic citation. Sometimes that conversation is one-sided and mostly about what an officer did or did not say or do. When approached, my first question is usually, were you treated professionally? In this case, the ticket recipient went on to say that the officer was extremely nice and explained everything very well. As I suspected, that officer was Buddy Christian. In all my interactions, Buddy was open, honest, friendly, and forthcoming. He truly cared about the entire community. Buddy embodied what communities are rightfully demanding throughout our nation from police, and it is horrible that Jamie Hood deprived our community of such a fine policeman. Buddy Christian was a noble public servant who was a kind man who was taken away from his two sweet children and loving wife.
Sir, you mentioned that when you went to Officer Christian's patrol car, you saw him there and saw images of his family on his screensaver?
Yes, I did.
On his MDT, is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Was that MDT scrolling from one-to-one?
I remember it was moving. There was a lot going on in the pictures. I don't remember if it was scrolling or they were moving. I don't remember exactly, but
Let me show you what's already been marked. State Exhibit 294.
Let him finish his statement, and then I'll hear your objection.
303, as well as 304.
Yeah, I'm Jake. Okay. Because it's cumulative. Throughout the trial, I saw these pictures over and over and over and over again. He going to incite passion to convict me off the pictures. They done heard it, they done seen it to the point where it's just ludicrous to continue to do this. He ain't doing this for a good faith. Keep doing this, y'all look at this and convict him. Trying to put a bad image on their head. And I would object because it's cumulative. They looked at him so many times it just don't make no sense. So he done read and said what he said.
So the objection is cumulative, by the way.
And bias and prejudice too.
Mr. Long, you want to respond?
Now, these photographs have not been admitted into evidence. And according to your ruling, the one that over time, this is not the guilt innocence phase. And so show it to the officer at that time and it will be recognized in the photograph.
Let me see. These are not in evidence.
Yeah, these are ones you redacted them at first.
Over the defendant.
I'm not going to.
I was not offering them at this time. I was showing them to the officer, to the witness judge. That's what I was doing. Would you look at those exhibits, please, Major Sizemore? Recognize what those are photographs of, sir?
yes, I do.
Those photographs of Officer Christian in the car right after he was shot, sir.
Yes, sir.
And each of those three photographs, does it show a different screen image?
Yes, it does.
And are those the images that you saw on that particular day that you referred to in your victim impact statement of his family?
Yes.
That's all I have of Major Sizemore.
Any questions?
No.
Any excuse?
Yes.
Any objection, Mr. Long? Excuse, sir. Call your next witness.
Jerry Johnson?
Jerry Johnson.
Although you've been previously sworn, let me swear you in again, please. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give the court in this matter of state versus Jamie Donnell Hood will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Would you state your name again for the jury, please?
Jerry Johnson.
And you're employed with the Athens Park County Police Department.
Yes, sir.
And have you prepared a victim impact statement in this matter, sir?
I have, sir.
I'm going to show you what's been marked in State Exhibit 1189. You recognize that as your victim impact statement, sir?
Yes, sir.
And I would tender State Exhibit 1189 in that.
Objection. No, sir, no, Superintendent.
And Officer Johnson, would you please read that to the jury?
Yes, sir. March 22nd, 2011 changed all of us. It is somewhat difficult for me to put into words how I feel. I know that may sound strange because one may think that I should be able to articulate exactly how the actions of Mr. Hood affected me because of my relationship with Buddy Christian and Tony Howard. It would be easier if I knew the answer to the question that I have had since that horrible day. Why? I would like to ask you, why did you decide to pull a gun and shoot two individuals who were just simply doing their job? They had done nothing to you. One of them, I believe, did not even know where you were going, what was going on in the parking lot of Cascade on the River that day. Every day I think about the events of March 22nd, 2011. I mean, every single day. During the spring, a bright sunny day takes me back. When I hear gunfire at the practice range or fireworks, I get chills because it takes me back. My heart hurts for Buddy's family. I cannot imagine my wife and 4 children being without me. Buddy's children will grow up with the knowledge of their dad, but they have been deprived of the chance to really know their dad. Mr. Hood, you took away from a little boy fishing trips, football games, baseball games, and hunting trips. You took away from a little boy the opportunity to learn from his father how to become a man. Hood, you stole from a little girl her protector, her provider. You took away from her the example of what her future husband should be like. I pray for them often. On the few occasions that I have seen them and their mother, it's hard for me to look at them because they remind me so much of their dad. And as for Melissa, I continue to pray that God holds her close in his arms and continues to give her the strength to endure. As for Tony, I have never met a strong individual, both physically and spiritually than my brother-in-law. My relationship with Tony is stronger than my relationship with my own 2 brothers. While he was on the ground, bleeding profusely that day, he continued to try to get up. I held his hand as he lay there and continued telling him to hold on, Tony, I'm here. I remember hearing him grunting in pain. Through the blood on his face, I could see confusion and fear, but he continued to try to get off the ground. At one point, the moaning and the grunting stopped, and his eyes closed. And he stopped moving. A severe feeling of fear and helplessness came over me And at that moment, I thought that my partner, my brother, my friend was gone. I remember telling Tony something to the effect, "Don't you do it. Hang in there, Tony." And he did just that. And by God's grace and mercy, Tony is here today. So where am I today? After 4 years, I still second guess myself. Not as much as I used to. For weeks, months for that matter, I asked myself, why didn't I get out of the car faster? Why didn't I process what was unfolding in front of me quicker? Why? Sometimes I can still hear the words, "Central, I'm shot." When I close my eyes, I can see Tony on the ground with a trail of blood running down the hill. It hurts. The pain is there every day. The feeling of helplessness I felt that day, I pray I never feel that way again. The one thing that helps me cope with Buddy's passing is my last memories of him. He and I worked together briefly on the Evening Watch West, and he came back to the department, and one day I had initiated a traffic stop in the parking lot behind McDonald's on West Broad. I didn't ask for backup or anything, and the stop was relatively okay. As I'm dealing with the driver, I look over the roof of the vehicle, and there stood Buddy on the passenger side, giving me that big smile. The final time I had contact with Buddy was Saturday before the day he was killed. We were all looking for a child who had wandered off from some type of family outing. We found the child safely, and while on the scene, Buddy and I started talking about my upcoming physical assessment for my promotion to senior police officer, or SPO, that coming Monday. His last words to me were, "Mr. Jerry, good luck. We'll be praying for you." Whenever he spoke to you, he always put Mr. or Miss in front of your name. If I had known that was going to be the last time I was going to see him, I would have said more than thank you. I've gone through a lot over these past 4 years. Sleepless nights, loneliness, fear, doubt, you name it, I probably felt it. At times, I felt a sense of paranoia as well. I thought some of my fellow officers questioned my actions. I felt that some of them thought I could have done more. I felt like I let Buddy, Tony, and my entire department down. I guess one could say that I went through a period of survivor's guilt. I felt so guilty, so depressed, that I almost did not attend Buddy's funeral. Then I thought about how Buddy loved the honor guard. Buddy and I were on the honor guard team together, and I was sitting at my dining room table the night before thinking about how proud he was when he put on his honor guard uniform and contemplated on, should I go? I came to the realization that I need to stop feeling sorry for myself and go support my brothers and sisters in the department and honor Buddy the best way I could. The days immediately following the funeral were tough. I was on administrative leave, sitting at home, feeling down. I was so low, I thought about walking away from law enforcement. I was at home thinking, God, I failed Tony, I failed Buddy. I failed Tony and Buddy. I can't fail anyone else. So during that time, I prayed and prayed some more, asking God for help. Before I knew it, I was back in my uniform, serving the citizens of Athens Park County again. Finally, I will just say this. I am not the same man I was on March 22nd, 2011, nor am I the same officer. The nightmares have gone away, and so has the pity and self-doubt. I'm taking things one step at a time. I still sometimes go back on that day and wonder, what if? The phrase, that question, if you will, used to consume me. My faith in God and my love and the love and support of my family, friends, and fellow officers that helped me thus far. Mr. Hood, I may never know the reason why you did what you did. I don't let that consume me anymore. You took away a great man who was a loving father, husband, son, brother, friend, and a true man of God. You tried to take away a man of equal stature who was adored by his wife, his sons, his family, and his community. Mr. Hood, you have caused a lot of pain and suffering to my family. Whenever I see Tony and look upon the scars on his face, I'm reminded of what you tried to do. When I talked to him, and during the conversation, he has to lean towards me with his left ear because he lost some of his hearing. I'm reminded of what you tried to do.
Thank you, Officer Johnson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon, sir.
Do you recall testifying in trial that you wouldn't have done a traffic stop like Officer Howard done? Do you recall that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you recall that you would have parked your car according to the protocol of Adden Clark County Police Department, you'd be on a high-risk traffic stop?
If it was a high-risk traffic stop, my car would be parked a different way.
Okay. Do you recall stating to the jury that you would have radio central communication if you were performing a high-risk traffic stop?
High-risk traffic stop, I would, if I was doing a high-risk traffic stop.
Do you recall telling the jury that you wouldn't have done that stop by yourself?
A high-risk traffic stop, no, not by myself.
Well, I hope that answers some of your questions.
And that comment, appropriate, I need to strike that.
That comment will be struck, not considered.
But do that answer some of your questions, Mr. Johnson?
That's argumentative, and I would reject it.
I'm through. I didn't want to answer you that why. I hope that gives some.
I'll sustain that objection. I've already called transportation. You all can go back to the jury room and take the lunch. Can Mr. Johnson be excused?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me.